What was I gonna say? Shit. As soon as you press the record button, everything goes down the hole. All right, so you got a computer. You got it all set up. You want to stream on Twitch, Facebook, put some movies out on YouTube. You don't know where to start. OBS Studio is where you're going to start. And this is going to be your tutorial. So the first thing you want to do is you're going to go to obsproject.com. Once you get to obsproject.com, you're going to see three options. You got Windows, Mac, and Linux. These are self-explanatory. Basically, just click on whatever operating system you have. It's going to download. It's going to put a tab right down here. You're going to open that and install it. Once you download it and install it, it's probably going to put an icon on your desktop that's going to say OBS Open Broadcast Software. Okay? Once you open OBS Studio, you get it all ready, you're going to come to a screen that looks just like this. Okay, this one's a blank canvas. The one I use is full of junk, and to get this to display like this for you guys was a miracle, because on my other monitor, I have this going on. So let's get you to there. All right. So the first thing you're going to want to do to make everything simple and sound, and let's just cut and dry, make this really easy. I'll go really slow for you guys. We'll take our time. We'll get through this, okay? So you're going to want to create a profile. This is going to make it so everything's simple. So today's profile, we'll call it tutorial for YouTube. Okay? I'm not going to use the auto configuration wizard because I know how to do all this already. If you want to go through that, I mean, feel free to experiment. You can't really mess anything up. And if you do mess something up, there's always the set to default. Okay, so you can take everything back to where you originally began. So once you set up your profile, you're going to want to start to add scenes and settings and tinker with stuff and everything. What I like to do first is I like to set up like my scenes. So let's just say this is going to be your just chatting scene where everybody sees you and, well, you're chatting, duh. Once you get your scene set up, you want to go here to your sources. The first thing you're going to want to add, it doesn't matter. I always do my audio input capture. That's going to be your microphone and what people hear you with. Make sure to label things so that you can find them later, because you're going to have a lot of stuff on here come time. So add your microphone, as I just showed you. Go to your device and pick which one of these is your microphone. Mine's going to be the analog 1 and 2 because I use a Focusrite mixer, and then hit OK. After you're done doing that, you can go ahead and add your video capture device. I can't add my camera because I'm obviously using it right now. I always leave it video capture device. I don't use webcam or anything fancy because video capture device pretty much tells you it's your video capture device. Once you do that, I have a camera here set up just for the purpose of doing this. Go to your device, select your webcam. You can pick your resolution type or whatever you want it to be. Sometimes it's device default. You can go to custom and set a custom resolution depending on what the resolution of that camera can match or output. This one can go out to 1080, so I can use 1920 by 1080. You can do 1280 by 720. You can downscale. But for these purposes, we're just going to use 1920 by 1080. Now, after you've got all that set up, You're probably wondering, well, how do I get my game on the screen? How do I get my game on there? Like, how am I gonna get people to see me play? So you're gonna go to scenes. You're gonna put game screen or whatever you want it to be. It doesn't matter. To make this simple, you can go right back to your just chatting. You can copy your video capture device, go to your game screen, and paste. You can go right back to here, copy your microphone, go to your game screen, and paste. So your video capture device is here, just like you see. You just go up to this top corner. Just go ahead and minimize that, right? Minimize it to whatever size you want it. Put it wherever you want on your screen. And then we're going to add another source. Now, there's two ways you can do this. You can do this display capture, which is going to capture that entire display. Ignore all that running of screens right there. OBS likes to take you into like a third dimension when you use display capture on another monitor while filming that monitor. That's kind of why I'm using this one to film with and then to show you guys on here so we don't have to deal with that. Display canvas is going to pick up automatically at 2560 by 1440 because that's what that monitor is. If you want to use another monitor, you can go ahead and choose the monitor as displayed and then hit OK. So you're probably wondering, where'd my camera go? Now with your sources, whatever you want to be on top literally needs to be on top. What I mean by that is if you want your video capture device overlaid onto your display, then your video capture needs to be above your display capture. So if I move my video capture below my display capture, it's now underneath of that window. So I showed you guys display capture. Now let me show you game capture. Game capture is a little different, but it's the same. So when you go to game capture, what you're going to want to do is pick capture a specific window. And then under window, underneath of window, it's going to give you options. Whatever's running on your PC at that time, you're going to be able to choose that specific window. So like if I pick OBS 64, it's going to bring up OBS 64. And anytime you want to change that game capture, you can right click, properties, and go to window and change that specific window to whatever it is. Whether that's a game, a web browser, YouTube, whatever it is, you can change that at that given time. Same thing goes for game capture as it does display capture. That video capture device needs to be above game capture and display capture, or what's going to happen is it's going to be hidden behind that window. So if we go into settings, it's going to give us a couple options here. Now, yours might not look like this because I have the dark theme on. You can choose whatever theme you want. I like the dark. It's more settling on the eyes to me. So it's going to give you your language, depending on what language you speak. English, Spanish, French, German, whatever it may be. Your output, your source alignment, projector, system tray, preview, importer, studio mode, multi-view. There's tons of options and you could get lost in this for hours, but none of this is going to matter for you at this point. Literally, just make sure you've got the language you want, the theme you want, and always automatically check for updates. Now, this is going to be what's important. You need to find whatever service you're going to stream to. Choose that service accordingly. When you do that, then you can click connect account and it will let you log in with that account and it will automatically retrieve your API or your stream key and just log right in with that. Your output. This can get really tricky and I'll do an advanced video for this. If you mess with these settings, you can get yourself messed up and lost. So for the most part, just keep your output mode when you're first starting out to simple. Your video bitrate, if you're going to stream at 1080p and you have good internet, Twitch usually caps you at 6,000 kilobytes per second. If you can run 6,000 kilobytes per second, I recommend that for 1080p. Your encoder X264 is going to be your CPU. Now, if you look down here, this tells you your frame rate and your CPU usage. Once I hit that start streaming button and I'm on X264, I can guarantee you that CPU rate is going to go to probably 11%, maybe to 20%, depending on your hardware and what kind of CPU you have. If you have an NVIDIA video card, NVENC is the way to go. They have a chip actually on the NVIDIA graphics cards that are designed to help to process video when recording, and you can use that. That's going to save you a lot of headroom on your CPU and your GPU when you're trying to game and stream at the same time. Your audio bitrate, you can leave at 160. You can tinker with that kind of stuff later. There's a lot of help guides and everything on the internet. Audio sample rate, I would put that at 48 kilohertz. Have your channels in stereo. Your global audio devices, this is basically just going to be your microphone, your desktop audio, whatever's pushing through to OBS so that people can hear it. You can leave most of this as default. I have it all disabled right now because I don't want it picked up. Your video, your base canvas resolution is always going to be whatever your monitor is. So say I have a 27-inch 1080p monitor. It's going to be 1920 by 1080 is my base canvas because that's what is originally being shown on the screen and put into OBS. If you have problems with dropped frames or a laggy stream or a choppy stream, or down here in the corner it says encoder overloaded, you can always try starting right here. This could be your problem with your scaled resolution, and you can go from 1920 by 1080 and downscale it to 1280 by 720, which isn't that really big of a difference when streaming on Twitch and Facebook and stuff like that. Bicubic's going to be the lowest downscale filter that you can use. It's taking 16 samples and sharpening, and it looks good. I'm not one to complain, but Lankos is going to give you much better quality if your PC can perform using it. So you can take all of this and change your common FPS to 60 frames per second. You got your Lankos, your output, your base resolution. Just leave all that at 1920 by 1080 if that's what you want to stream at, and then go from there. Your hotkeys. Okay, now a lot of people nowadays use stream decks or loop decks or whatever you're using out there. Some people have a USB pad with like a number pad where they use hotkeys and stuff like that. Basically, all of these hotkeys are designed so that you can switch scenes, start and stop cameras, do previews, quick transitions, whatever you may do. Here on OBS, there's probably a hotkey for it, and you can enable them on your keyboard or whatever you want to use. So in advanced settings, I'm not going to get into all of this. I would pretty much leave all of this how it is when you first get to streaming. I wouldn't really mess with any of this. You should be good to go. You should be able to just go over here after you get everything set up and start streaming. All right, YouTube, now that you got the OBS tutorial down, go out there, give it a shot, tinker around with it and have fun. If you need anything, you can join the Discord. The link's down there in the description. And my name's Goose. I stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/GooseVI every Friday, Saturday, and Wednesday at 3:30. And I'll see you around.